Chapter 4, ATTHAKAVAGGA. KAMASUTTA. Sensual pleasures are to be avoided. If he who desires sensual pleasures is successful, he certainly becomes glad-minded, having obtained what a mortal wishes for. But if those sensual pleasures fail the person who desires and wishes for them, he will suffer, pierced by the arrow of pain. He who avoids sensual pleasures as he would avoid treading upon the head of a snake with his foot, such a one, being thoughtful, will conquer this desire. He who covets extensively such pleasures as these, fields, goods, or gold, cows and horses, servants, women, relations, sins will overpower him, dangers will crush him, and pain will follow him as water pours into a broken ship. Therefore let one always be thoughtful, and avoid pleasures. Having abandoned them, let him cross the stream, after bailing out the ship, and go to the other shore. GUHATTHAKASUTTA. Let no one cling to existence and sensual pleasures. A man that lives adhering to the cave that is the body, who is covered with much sin, and sunk into delusion, such a one is far from seclusion, for the sensual pleasures in the world are not easy to abandon. Those whose wishes are their motives, those who are linked to the pleasures of the world, they are difficult to liberate, for they cannot be liberated by others, looking for what is after or what is before, coveting these and former sensual pleasures. Those who are greedy of, given to, and infatuated by sensual pleasures, those who are niggardly, they, having entered upon what is wicked, wail when they are subjected to pain, saying, "What will become of us, when we die away from here?" Therefore let a man here learn, whatever he knows as wicked in the world, let him not for the sake of that practice what is wicked. For short is this life, say the wise. I see in the world this trembling race given to desire for existences. They are wretched men who lament in the mouth of death, not being free from the desire for reiterated existences. Look upon those men trembling in selfishness, like fish in a stream nearly dried up, with little water. Seeing this, let one wander about unselfish, without forming any attachment to existences. Having subdued his wish for both ends, having fully understood touch without being greedy, not doing what he has himself blamed, the wise man does not cling to what is seen and heard. Having understood name, let the sage cross over the stream, not defiled by any grasping. Having pulled out the arrow of passion, wandering about strenuous, he does not wish for this world or the other. DUTTHATTAKASUTTA. The sage undergoes no censure, for he has shaken off all systems of philosophy, and is therefore independent. Verily, some wicked-minded people censure, and also just-minded people censure, but the sage does not undergo the censure that has arisen. Therefore there is not a discontented sage anywhere. How can he who is led by his wishes and possessed by his inclinations overcome his own false view? Doing his own doings, let him talk according to his understanding. The person who, without being asked, praises his own virtue and holy works to others, him the good call ignoble, one who praises himself. But the bhikkhu who is calm and of a happy mind, thus not praising himself for his virtues, him the good call noble, one for whom there are no desires anywhere in the world. He whose dharmas are arbitrarily formed and fabricated, placed in front, and confused, because he sees in himself a good result, is therefore given to the view which is called Kupapatikasanti. For the dogmas of philosophy are not easy to overcome. Amongst the dharmas now this and now that is adopted after consideration. Therefore a man rejects and adopts now this and now that dharma amongst the dogmas. For him who has shaken off sin, there is nowhere in the world any prejudiced view of the different existences. He who has shaken off sin, after leaving deceit and arrogance behind, which way should he go? He is independent. But he who is dependent undergoes censure amongst the dharmas. With what name and how should one name him who is independent? For by him there is nothing grasped or rejected. He has in this world shaken off every philosophical view. SUDDHATTAKASUTTA. No one is purified by philosophy. Those devoted to philosophy run from one teacher to another, but the wise are not led by passion, and do not embrace anything in the world as the highest. I see a pure, most excellent, sound man. By his views a man's purification takes place. Holding this opinion, and having seen this view to be the highest, he goes back to knowledge, thinking to see what is pure. If a man's purification takes place by his philosophical views, or he by knowledge leaves pain behind, then he is purified by another way than the Ariyamagga, that is the noble way, together with his upadhis. On account of his views he tells him to say so. But the Brahmana who does not cling to what has been seen, or heard, to virtue and holy works, or to what has been thought, to what is good and to what is evil, and who leaves behind what has been grasped, without doing anything in this world, he does not acknowledge that purification comes from another. Having left their former teacher, they go to another. Following their desires, they do not break asunder their ties. They grasp, they let go like a monkey letting go the branch just after having caught hold of it. Having himself undertaken some holy works, he goes to various things led by his senses. But a man of great understanding, a wise man who by his wisdom has understood the Dharma, does not go to various occupations. He being secluded amongst all the Dharmas, whatever has been seen, heard, or thought, how should anyone in this world be able to alter him, the seeing one, who wanders openly? They do not form any view, they do not prefer anything, they do not say, I am infinitely pure. Having cut the tied knot of attachment, they do not long for anything anywhere in the world. He is a Brahmana that has conquered sin. By him there is nothing embraced after knowing and seeing it. He is not affected by any kind of passion. There is nothing grasped by him as the highest in this world. PARAMATTHAKASUTTA. One should not give oneself to philosophical disputations. A Brahmana who does not adopt any system of philosophy, is unchangeable, has reached Nibbana. What one person, abiding by the philosophical views, saying, this is the most excellent, considers the highest in the world, everything different from that he says is wretched, therefore he has not overcome dispute. Because he sees in himself a good result, with regard to what has been seen or heard, virtue and holy works, or what has been thought, therefore, having embraced that, he looks upon everything else as bad. the expert call just that a tie dependent upon which one looks upon anything else as bad. Therefore let a bhikkhu not depend upon what is seen, heard, or thought, or upon virtue and holy works. Let him not form any philosophical view in this world, either by knowledge or by virtue and holy works. Let him not represent himself equal to others, nor think himself either low or distinguished. Having left what has been grasped, not seizing upon anything, he does not depend even on knowledge. He does not associate with those that are taken up by different things. He does not return to any philosophical view. For whom there is here no desire for both ends, for reiterated existence either here or in another world, for him there are no resting places of the mind embraced after investigation amongst the doctrines Dharmasu. Lane him there is not the least prejudiced idea with regard to what has been seen, heard, or thought. How could anyone in this world alter such a Brahmana who does not adopt any view? They do not form any view, they do not prefer anything, the dharmas are not chosen by them. A Brahmana is not dependent upon virtue and holy works. Having gone to the other shore, such a one does not return. GARASUTTA. From selfishness come grief and avarice. The bhikkhu who has turned away from the world and wanders about houseless is independent, and does not wish for purification through another. Short indeed is this life, within 100 years one dies, and if anyone lives longer, then he dies of old age. People grieve from selfishness, perpetual cares kill them, this world is full of disappointment. Seeing this, let one not live in a house. That even of which a man thinks, this is mine, is left behind by death. Knowing this, let not the wise man turn himself to worldliness while being my follower. As a man awakened does not see what he has met with in his sleep, so also he does not see the beloved person that has passed away and is dead. Both seen and heard are the persons whose particular name is mentioned, but only the name remains undecayed of the person that has passed away. The greedy in their selfishness do not leave sorrow, lamentation, and avarice. Therefore the sages leaving greediness wandered about seeing security that is nibbana. For a bhikkhu, who wanders about unattached and cultivates the mind of a recluse, they say it is proper that he does not show himself again in existence. Under all circumstances the independent sage does not please nor displease anyone. Sorrow and avarice do not stick to him as little as water to a leaf. As a drop of water does not stick to a lotus, as water does not stick to a lotus, so a sage does not cling to anything, namely, to what is seen or heard or thought. He who has shaken off sin does not therefore think much of anything because it has been seen or heard or thought. He does not wish for purification through another, for he is not pleased nor displeased with anything. TISSAMETTEYYASUTTA. Sexual intercourse should be avoided. Tell me, O Venerable One, so said the Venerable Tissametteya, the defeat of him who is given to sexual intercourse. Hearing thy precepts we will learn in seclusion. The precepts of him who is given to sexual intercourse, O Matteya, so said Buddha, are lost, and he employs himself wrongly, this is what is ignoble in him. He who, having formerly wandered alone, gives himself up to sexual intercourse, him they call in the world a low, common fellow, like a rolling chariot. What honor and renown he had before, that is lost for him. Having seen this, let him learn to give up sexual intercourse. He who overcome by his thoughts meditates like a miser, such a one, having heard the blaming voice of others, becomes discontented. Then he makes weapons, that is, commits evil deeds urged by the doctrines of others. He is very greedy, and sinks into falsehood. Designated wise, he has entered upon a solitary life. Then having given himself up to sexual intercourse, he being a fool suffers pain. Looking upon this as misery, let the sage from first to last in the world firmly keep to his solitary life. Let him not give himself up to sexual intercourse. Let him learn seclusion, this is the highest for noble men, but let him not therefore think himself the best, although he is verily near Nibbana. The sage who wanders void of desire, not coveting sensual pleasures, and who has crossed the stream, him the creatures that are tied in sensual pleasures envy. PASÜRASUTTA. Disputants brand each other as fools. They wish for praise, but being repulsed they become discontented. One is not purified by dispute, but by keeping to Buddha, who has shaken off all sin. Here they maintain purity, in other doctrines they do not allow purity. What they have devoted themselves to, that they call good, and they enter extensively upon the single truths. Those wishing for dispute, having plunged into the assembly, brand each other as fools mutually. They go to others and pick a quarrel, wishing for praise and calling themselves the only expert. Engaged in dispute in the middle of the assembly, wishing for praise he lays about on all sides, but when his dispute has been repulsed he becomes discontented. At the blame he gets angry, he who sought for the faults of others. Because those who have tested his questions say that his dispute is lost and repulsed, he laments and grieves, having lost his disputes. He has conquered me, so saying he wails. These disputes have arisen amongst the ascetics. In these disputes there is dealt blow and stroke. Having seen this, let him leave off disputing, for there is no other advantage in trying to get praise. Or he is praised there, having cleared up the dispute in the middle of the assembly. Therefore he will laugh and be elated, having won that case as he had a mind to. That which is his exaltation will also be the field of his defeat. Still he talks proudly and arrogantly. Seeing this, let no one dispute, for the expert do not say that purification takes place by that. As a hero nourished by kingly food goes about roaring, wishing for an adversary, where he that is the philosopher, Ditthi-Gatika is, go thou there, O hero. Formerly there was nothing like this to fight against. Those who, having embraced a certain philosophical view, dispute and maintain, this only is true, to them say thou when a dispute has arisen, here is no opponent for thee. Those who wander about after having secluded themselves, without opposing view to view, what opposition wilt thou meet with amongst those, O Pasura, by whom nothing in this world is grasped as the best? Then thou wentest to reflection, thinking in thy mind over the different philosophical views. Thou hast gone into the yoke with him who has shaken off all sin, but thou wilt not be able to proceed together with him. Magandiyasutta. A dialogue between Magandiya and Buddha. The former offers Buddha his daughter for a wife, but Buddha refuses her. Magandiya says that purity comes from philosophy, Buddha from inward peace. The sage is a confessor of peace. He does not dispute, he is free from marks. Buddha, even seeing Tanha, Arati, and Raga the daughters of Mara, there was not the least wish in me for sexual intercourse. What is this thy daughter's body but a thing full of water and excrement? I do not even want to touch it with my foot. Magandiya, if thou dost not want such a pearl, a woman desired by many kings, what view, virtue, and holy works, mode of life, rebirth dost thou profess? This I say, sir, I do now declare, after investigation there is nothing amongst the doctrines which such a one as I would embrace. O Magandiya, so said Buddha, and seeing misery in the philosophical views, without adopting any of them, searching for truth I saw inward peace. All the philosophical resolutions that have been formed, so said Magandiya, those indeed thou explainest without adopting any of them. The notion, inward peace, which thou mentionest, how is this explained by the wise? Not by any philosophical opinion, not by tradition, not by knowledge, O Magandiya, so said Buddha, not by virtue and holy works can anyone say that purity exists, nor by absence of philosophical opinion, by absence of tradition, by absence of knowledge, by absence of virtue and holy works either. Having abandoned these without adopting anything else, let him, calm and independent, not desire existence. If one cannot say by any philosophical opinion, or by tradition, or by knowledge, so said Magandiya, or by virtue and holy works that purity exists, nor by absence of philosophical opinion, by absence of tradition, by absence of knowledge, by absence of virtue and holy works, then I consider the doctrine foolish, for by philosophical opinions some return to purity. And asking on account of thy philosophical opinion, O Magandiya, so said Buddha, thou hast gone to infatuation in what thou hast embraced, and of this inward peace thou hast not the least idea, therefore thou holdest it foolish. He who thinks himself equal to others, or distinguished, or low, he for that very reason disputes. But he who is unmoved under those three conditions, for him the notions equal and distinguished do not exist. The Brahmana for whom the notions equal and unequal do not exist, would he say, this is true? Or with whom should he dispute, saying, this is false? With whom should he enter into dispute? Having left his house, wandering about houseless, not making acquaintances in the village, free from lust, not desiring any future existence, let the sage not get into quarrelsome talk with people. Let not an eminent man Naga dispute after having embraced those views separated from which he formerly wandered in the world. As the thorny lotus Elambuga is undefiled by water and mud, so the sage, the confessor of peace, free from greed, does not cling to sensual pleasures and the world. An accomplished man does not by a philosophical view, or by thinking become arrogant, for he is not of that sort. Not by holy works, nor by tradition is he to be led. He is not led into any of the resting places of the mind. For him who is free from marks, there are no ties. To him who is delivered by understanding there are no follies. But those who grasped after marks and philosophical views, they wander about in the world annoying people. PURＡBHEDASUTTA. Definition of a calm sage. With what view and with what virtue is one called calm? Tell me that, O Gautama, when asked about the best man. He whose desire is departed before the dissolution of his body, so said Buddha, who does not depend upon beginning and end, nor reckons upon the middle, by him there is nothing preferred. He who is free from anger, free from trembling, free from boasting, free from misbehavior, he who speaks wisely, he who is not elated, he is indeed a sage who has restrained his speech. Without desire for the future, he does not grieve for the past. He sees seclusion in the touch, and he is not led by any philosophical views. He is unattached, not deceitful, not covetous, not envious, not impudent, not contemptuous, and not given to slander. Without desire for pleasant things and not given to conceit, and being gentle, intelligent, not credulous, he is not displeased with anything. Not from love of gain does he learn, and he does not get angry on account of loss, and untroubled by desire he has no greed for sweet things. Equable, always thoughtful, he does not think himself equal to others in the world, nor distinguished, nor low. For him there are no desires. The man for whom there is nothing upon which he depends, who is independent, having understood the Dharma, for whom there is no desire for coming into existence or leaving existence, him I call calm, not looking for sensual pleasures. For him there are no ties, he has overcome desire. For him there are no sons, cattle, fields, wealth, nothing grasped or rejected is to be found in him. That fault of which common people and ascetics and brahmanas say that he is possessed, is not possessed by him. Therefore he is not moved by their talk. Free from covetousness, without avarice, the sage does not reckon himself amongst the distinguished, nor amongst the plain, nor amongst the low. He does not enter time, being delivered from time. He for whom there is nothing in the world which he may call his own, who does not grieve over what is no more, and does not walk amongst the dharmas after his wish, he is called calm. KALAHAVIVÂDASUTTA. The origin of contentions, disputes. Whence do spring up contentions and disputes, lamentation and sorrow together with envy, and arrogance and conceit together with slander? Whence do these spring up? Pray, tell me this. From dear objects spring up contentions and disputes, lamentation and sorrow together with envy, arrogance and conceit together with slander. Contentions and disputes are joined with envy, and there is slander in the disputes arisen. The dear objects in the world, whence do they originate, and whence the covetousness that prevails in the world, and desire and fulfillment, whence do they originate, which are of consequence for the future state of a man? From wish originate the dear objects in the world, and the covetousness that prevails in the world, and desire and fulfillment originate from it, which are of consequence for the future state of a man. From what has wish in the world its origin, and resolutions, whence do they spring? Anger and falsehood and doubt, and the dharmas which are made known by the ascetic Gautama. What they call pleasure and displeasure in the world, by that wish springs up. Having seen decay and origin in all bodies, a person forms his resolutions in the world. Anger and falsehood and doubt, these dharmas are a couple. Let the doubtful learn in the way of knowledge. Knowingly the dharmas have been proclaimed by the ascetic. Pleasure and displeasure, whence have they their origin? For want of what do these not arise? This notion which thou mentionest, viz., decay and origin, tell me from what does this arise? Pleasure and displeasure have their origin from touch. When there is no touch they do not arise. This notion which thou mentionest, viz., decay and origin, this I tell thee has its origin from this. From what has touch its origin in the world, and from what does grasping spring up? For want of what is there no egotism? By the cessation of what do the touches not touch? On account of name and form the touches exist. Grasping has its origin in wish. By the cessation of wishes there is no egotism. By the cessation of form the touches do not touch. How is one to be constituted that his form may cease to exist? And how do joy and pain cease to exist? Tell me this, how it ceases, that we should like to know, such was my mind. Let one not be with a natural consciousness, nor with a mad consciousness, nor without consciousness, nor with his consciousness gone. For him who is thus constituted form ceases to exist, for what is called delusion has its origin in consciousness. What we have asked thee thou hast explained unto us. We will ask thee another question, answer us that. Do not some who are considered wise in this world tell us that the principal thing is the purification of the yaka, or do they say something different from this? Thus some who are considered wise in this world say that the principal thing is the purification of the yaka, but some of them say annihilation. The experts say that the highest purity lies in an upadisasa, none of the 5 attributes remaining. And having known these to be dependent, the investigating sage, having known the things we depend upon, and after knowing them being liberated, does not enter into dispute. The wise man does not go to reiterated existence. KÂLAHAVIVÂDASUTTA, a description of disputing philosophers. The different schools of philosophy contradict each other. They proclaim different truths, but the truth is only one. As long as the disputations are going on, so long will there be strife in the world. Abiding by their own views, some people, having got into contest, assert themselves to be the only expert, saying, "He who understands this, he knows the Dharma. He who reviles this, he is not perfect." So having got into contest they dispute. The opponent is a fool, an ignorant person, so they say. Which one of these, pray, is the true doctrine? For all these assert themselves to be the only expert. He who does not acknowledge an opponent's doctrine Dharma, he is a fool, a beast, one of poor understanding. All are fools with a very poor understanding. All these abide by their own views. They are surely purified by their own view. They are of a pure understanding, expert, thoughtful. Amongst them there is no one of poor understanding. Their view is quite perfect. I do not say, this is the reality, which fools say mutually to each other. They made their own views the truth, therefore they hold others to be fools. What some say is the truth, the reality, that others say is void, false, So having disagreed they dispute. Why do not the ascetics say one and the same thing? For the truth is one, there is not a second, about which one intelligent man might dispute with another intelligent man. But they themselves praise different truths, therefore the ascetics do not say one and the same thing. Why do the disputants that assert themselves to be the only expert proclaim different truths? Have many different truths been heard of, or do they only follow their own reasoning? There are not many different truths in the world, no eternal ones except consciousness. But having reasoned on the philosophical views, they proclaim a double dharma, truth and falsehood. In regard to what has been seen, or heard, virtue and holy works, or what has been thought, and on account of these views looking upon others with contempt, standing in their resolutions joyful, they say that the opponent is a fool and an ignorant person because he holds another to be a fool. Therefore he calls himself expert. In his own opinion he is one that tells what is propitious, others he blames, so he said. He is full of his overbearing philosophical view, mad with pride, thinking himself perfect. He is in his own opinion anointed with the spirit of genius, for his philosophical view is quite complete. If he according to another's report is low, then he says the other is also of a low understanding, and if he himself is accomplished and wise, there is not any fool amongst the ascetics. Those who preach a doctrine dharma different from this fall short of purity and are imperfect, so the Titias say repeatedly, for they are inflamed by passion for their own philosophical views. Here they maintain purity, in other doctrines dharma they do not allow purity. So the Titias, entering extensively upon details, say that in their own way there is something firm. And saying that there is something firm in his own way he holds his opponent to be a fool. Thus he himself brings on strife, calling his opponent a fool and impure. Standing in his resolution, having himself measured teachers, and so forth, he still more enters into dispute in the world. But having left all resolutions, nobody will excite strife in the world. MAHＡVIYÜHASUTTA. Philosophers cannot lead to purity, they only praise themselves and stigmatize others. But a Brahmana has overcome all dispute, he is indifferent to learning, he is appeased. Those who abiding in the philosophical views dispute, saying, "This is the truth," they all incur blame, and they also obtain praise in this matter. This is little, not enough to bring about tranquility. I say there are two fruits of dispute. Having seen this, let no one dispute, understanding Kema, that is Nibbana, to be the place where there is no dispute. The opinions that have arisen amongst people, all these the wise man does not embrace. He is independent. Should he who is not pleased with what has been seen and heard resort to dependency? Those who consider virtue the highest of all, say that purity is associated with restraint, having taken upon themselves a holy work they serve. Let us learn in this view, then, is the Master's purity. Wishing for existence they assert themselves to be the only expert. If he falls off from virtue and holy works, he trembles, having missed his work. He laments, he prays for purity in this world, as one who has lost his caravan or wandered away from his house. Having left virtue and holy works altogether, and both wrong and blameless work, not praying for purity or impurity, he wanders abstaining from both purity and impurity, without having embraced peace. By means of penance, or anything disliked, or what has been seen, or heard, or thought, going upwards, they wail for what is pure, without being free from desire for reiterated existence. For him who wishes for something there always are desires, and trembling in the midst of his plans. He for whom there is no death and no rebirth, how can he tremble or desire anything? What some call the highest Dharma, that others again call wretched. Which one of these, pray, is the true doctrine Vada? For all these assert themselves to be the only expert. Their own Dharma they say is perfect, another's Dharma again they say is wretched. So having disagreed they dispute, they each say their own opinions are the truth. If one becomes low by another's censure, then there will be no one distinguished amongst the Dharmas, for they all say another's Dharma is low, in their own they say there is something firm. The worshipping of their own Dharma is as great as their praise of their own ways. All schools would be in the same case, for their purity is individual. There is nothing about a Brahmana dependent upon others, nothing amongst the Dharmas which he would embrace after investigation. Therefore he has overcome the disputes, for he does not regard any other Dharma as the best. I understand, I see likewise this. So saying, some by their philosophical views return to purity. If he saw purity, what then has been affected by another's view? Having conquered, they say that purity exists by another. A seeing man will see name and form, and having seen he will understand those things. Let him at pleasure see much or little, for the expert do not say that purity exists by that. A dogmatist is no leader to purity, being guided by prejudiced views, saying that good consists in what he is given to, and saying that purity is there, he saw the things so. A Brahmana does not enter time, or the number of living beings. He is no follower of philosophical views, nor a friend of knowledge, and having penetrated the opinions that have arisen amongst people, he is indifferent to learning, while others acquire it. The sage, having done away with ties here in the world, is no partisan in the disputes that have arisen. Appeased amongst the unappeased he is indifferent, not embracing learning, while others acquire it. Having abandoned his former passions, not contracting new ones, not wandering according to his wishes, being no dogmatist, he is delivered from the philosophical views, being wise, and he does not cling to the world, neither does he blame himself. Being secluded amongst all the doctrines Dharma, whatever has been seen, heard, or thought, he is a sage who has laid down his burden and is liberated, not belonging to time Kapio, not dead, not wishing for anything. So said Buddha. TUVATAKASUTTA. How a bhikkhu attains bliss, what his duties are, and what he is to avoid. I ask thee, who art a kinsman of the Atthakas and a great sage, about seclusion viveka and the state of peace. How is a bhikkhu, after having seen it, extinguished, not grasping at anything in the world? Let him completely cut off the root of what is called papanka delusion, thinking, I am wisdom. So said Buddha, all the desires that arise inwardly, let him learn to subdue them, always being thoughtful. Let him learn every dharma inwardly or outwardly. Let him not therefore be proud, for that is not called bliss by the good. Let him not therefore think himself better than others or low or equal to others. Questioned by different people, let him not adorn himself. Let the bhikkhu be appeased inwardly, let him not seek peace from any other quarter. For him who is inwardly appeased, there is nothing grasped or rejected. As in the middle that is depth of the sea no wave is born, but as it remains still, so let the bhikkhu be still, without desire, let him not desire anything whatever. He with open eyes expounded clearly the Dharma that removes all dangers. Tell now the religious practices, the precepts or contemplation. Buddha, let him not be greedy with his eyes, let him keep his ears from the talk of the town, let him not be greedy after sweet things, and let him not desire anything in the world. When he is touched by the touch of illness, let the bhikkhu not lament, and let him not wish for existence anywhere, and let him not tremble at dangers. Having obtained boiled rice and drink, solid food and clothes, let him not store up these things, and let him not be anxious if he does not get them. Let him be meditative, not prying, let him abstain from misbehavior, let him not be indolent, let the bhikkhu live in his quiet dwelling. Let him not sleep too much, let him apply himself ardently to watching, let him abandon sloth, deceit, laughter, sport, sexual intercourse, and adornment. Let him not apply himself to practicing the hymns of the Atthakavagga Veda, to the interpretation of sleep and signs, nor to astrology. Let not my follower devote himself to interpreting the cry of birds, to causing impregnation, nor to the art of medicine. Let the bhikkhu not tremble at blame, nor puff himself up when praised. Let him drive off covetousness together with avarice, anger, and slander. Let the bhikkhu not be engaged in purchase and sale. Let him not blame others in anything. Let him not scold in the village. Let him not from love of gain speak to people. Let not the bhikkhu be a boaster, and let him not speak coherent language. Let him not learn pride, let him not speak quarrelsome language. Let him not be led into falsehood, let him not consciously do wicked things. And with respect to livelihood, understanding, virtue, and holy works let him not despise others. Having heard much talk from much talking ascetics, let him not irritated answer them with harsh language, for the good do not thwart others. Having understood this Dharma, let the investigating and always thoughtful bhikkhu learn. Having conceived bliss to consist in peace, let him not be indolent in Gautama's commandments. For he, a conqueror unconquered, saw the Dharma visibly, without any traditional instruction. Therefore let him learn, heedful in his, Buddha's, commandments, and always worshipping. ATTADANDASUTTA. Description of an accomplished sage. From him who has seized a stick fear arises. Look at people killing each other. I will tell of grief as it is known to me. Seeing people struggling like fish in a pond with little water, seeing them obstructed by each other, a fear came over me. The world is completely unsubstantial, all quarters are shaken. Wishing for a house for myself, I did not see one uninhabited. But having seen all beings in the end obstructed, discontent arose in me. Then I saw in this world an arrow, difficult to see, stuck in the heart. He who has been pierced by this arrow runs through all quarters, but having drawn out that arrow, he will not run, he will sit down quietly. Their many studies are gone through. What is tied in the world, let him not apply himself to untie it. Having wholly transfixed desire, let him learn his own extinction, nibbana. Let the sage be truthful, without arrogance, undeceitful, free from slander, not angry, let him overcome avarice. Let the man who has turned his mind to nibbana conquer sleepiness, drowsiness, and sloth. Let him not live together with indolence, let him not indulge in conceit. Let him not be led into falsehood, let him not turn his affection to form. Let him penetrate arrogance, let him wander abstaining from violence. Let him not delight in what is old, let him not bear with what is new, let him not grieve for what is lost, let him not give himself up to desire. This desire I call greed, the great stream, I call it precipitation, craving, a trouble, a bog of lust difficult to cross. The sage who without deviating from truth stands fast on the firm ground of nibbana, being a brahmana, he, having forsaken everything, is indeed called calm. He indeed is wise, he is accomplished, having understood the Dharma independent of everything. Wandering rightly in the world, he does not envy anyone here. Whosoever has here overcome lust, a tie difficult to do away with in the world, he does not grieve, he does not covet, having cut off the stream, and being without bonds. What is before thee, lay that aside. Let there be nothing behind thee. If thou wilt not grasp after what is in the middle, thou wilt wander calm. The man who has no desire at all for name and form individuality, and who does not grieve over what is no more, he indeed does not decay in the world. He who does not think, this is mine, and, for others there is also something, he, not having egotism, does not grieve at having nothing. Not being harsh, not greedy, being without desire, and being the same under all circumstances, that I call a good result, when asked about an undaunted man. For him who is free from desire, for the discerning man there is no sankhara. Abstaining from every sort of effort, he sees happiness everywhere. The sage does not reckon himself amongst the plain, nor amongst the low, nor amongst the distinguished. Being calm and free from avarice, he does not grasp after nor reject anything. Sariputta Sutta. On Sariputta asking what a bhikkhu is to devote himself to, Buddha shows what life he is to lead. Neither has before been seen by me, so said the Venerable Sariputta, nor has anyone heard of such a beautifully speaking master, a teacher arrived from the two-seater heaven. As he, the clearly seeing, appears to the world of men and gods, after having dispelled all darkness, so he wanders alone in the midst of people. To this Buddha, who is independent, unchanged, a guileless teacher, who has arrived in the world, I have come supplicatingly with a question from many who are bound in this world. To a bhikkhu who is loath of the world and affects an isolated seat, the root of a tree or a cemetery, or who lives in the caves of the mountains. How many dangers are there not in these various dwelling places at which the bhikkhu does not tremble in his quiet dwelling? How many dangers are there not in the world for him who goes to the immortal region, dangers which the bhikkhu overcomes in his distant dwelling? Which are his words? Which are his objects in this world? which are the virtue and holy works of the energetic bhikkhu. What study, having devoted himself to, intent on one object, wise and thoughtful, can he blow off his own filth as the smith blows off that of the silver? What is pleasant for him who is disgusted with birth, and so forth, O Sariputta, so said Buddha, if he cultivates a lonely dwelling place, and loves perfect enlightenment in accordance with the Dharma, that I will tell thee as I understand it. Let not the wise and thoughtful bhikkhu wandering on the borders be afraid of the 5 dangers, gadflies and all other flies, snakes, contact with evil men, and quadrupeds. Let him not be afraid of adversaries, even having seen many dangers from them. Further, he will overcome other dangers while seeking what is good. Touched by sickness and hunger, let him endure cold and excessive heat. Let him, touched by them in many ways, and being houseless, make strong exertions. Let him not commit theft, let him not speak falsely, let him touch friendly what is feeble or strong, what he acknowledges to be the agitation of the mind, let him drive that off as a partisan of Kanha that is Mara. Let him not fall into the power of anger and arrogance. Having dug up the root of these, let him live, and let him overcome both what is pleasant and what is unpleasant. Guided by wisdom, taking delight in what is good, let him scatter those dangers, let him overcome discontent in his distant dwelling, let him overcome the 4 causes of lamentation. What shall I eat, or where shall I eat? He lay indeed uncomfortably last night, where shall I lie this night? Let the seeker who wanders about houseless subdue these lamentable doubts. Having had in due time both food and clothes, let him know moderation in this world for the sake of happiness. Guarded in these things and wandering restrained in the village, let him, even if he be irritated, not speak harsh words. Let him be with downcast eyes, and not prying, devoted to meditation, very watchful. Having acquired equanimity, let him with a composed mind cut off the seat of doubt and misbehavior. Urged on by words of his teachers, let him be thoughtful and rejoice at this urging. Let him break stubbornness in his fellow students. Let him utter propitious words and not unseasonable. Let him not think detractingly of others. And then the 5 impurities in the world, the subjection of which he must learn thoughtfully, let him overcome passion for form, sound and taste, smell and touch. Let the bhikkhu subdue his wish for these dharmas and be thoughtful, and with his mind well liberated, then in time he will, reflecting upon dharma, and having become intent upon one object, destroy darkness. So said Buddha.